Hello, everyone. We see a lot of people still joining, so let's wait 1 minute before we kickstart today's webinar. I see some people even joining from the US. I mean, of course, the main audience is from Europe. We have some from Asia as well. Great. All right, let's start. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are right now. I am Shankaransh Srivastava. I am the co-founder and the chief operating officer here at SmartHelio. And today we are going to do a very interesting webinar, beyond monitoring new technologies driving efficiency and profitability in solar operations. So today kind of will be summing up our experience of meeting thousands of clients across the globe this year. And we want to bring that, global perspective to our audience here. Um, so we'll discuss that, and we will end with our famous guess the pattern plot, but this time with a twist. We also asked the same questions to ChatGPT, so we'll see what ChatGPT was able to guess as the false. Some quick house rules. Just the same stuff. There's question and answer tab throughout the webinar. Just feel free to keep putting your questions there. We have blocked last 15 minutes where we will be taking the Q&A. And if anything goes wrong, anything funny, simply just refresh your browser and rejoin this webinar link. And at the end, if you are curious to talk to our team, we'll put a link of our demo to book a demo with us. So just feel free to fill in your details there. All right. Okay, so let me introduce my co-speaker of this webinar, Govinda Upadhyay. He's the founder and the CEO of SmartHelio. Hey, Govinda, welcome.
Hey, Shankaransh, thanks for having me here.
Great. So I think the two of us, we will be sharing a lot of experiences from this year, starting with how my life was back in 2013 when I started in the solar industry after my master's, and I used to work for an EPC company, right? And my friends would think this is what I do. I install solar panels. My mom thinks, oh, every time I call him, he's on the roof, right? Society thinks I'm a tree hugger. Salespeople think, oh, I just go and take a lot of pictures at the site. But what actually happens is after all the installation is said and done, it's when you receive calls that my system is not doing well. And that's when, it's that call is like a panic button, and that's something that really also pushed me into this entire automation, just automating that panic button and not have that panic. All right, so we will have a very dark joke here, especially the ones who have been in EPC business, who have sold solar panels to the end user directly. I mean, they would connect with it, right? I mean, things go south when you go for the cheaper options. All right, great. Let's quickly check who are there in our audience. So let's launch a poll and just select what suits comes closest to who you are. And maybe a few more seconds, and then we'll close this poll. we have the poll results, please? Okay, as it goes, we have 19% from asset management, 16% from innovation. That's interesting. We'll be talking about definitely a lot of innovation here. From performance, 19%, but there's 32% other audience as well. Like I'll be very curious to know this 32%. Yeah. Well, thank you. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so today's agenda, we are done with introduction. We'll briefly look into who we are and what we do at SmartHelio. Most of the time, we'll spend upon the global perspective we received this year on solar. That what does the industry think? Is it still bright or losing its shine? What industry thinks, where we should go, and how SmartHelio is trying to help the industry. And like I said, we will have Q&A at the end. All right, so very briefly, who we are. So we are known as the doctors of solar PV plants. We have built a software that analyzes the time series data from solar PV and BESS assets, and we diagnose and predict faults in these assets. We have 6 gigawatt under management, and we work with clientele across the globe. And we have some very prominent names that we are fortunate enough to work with. Yeah. Our story. So I think we all come. Smart Helio team is very diverse. We have worked in different parts of the world. Some of us has made our hands dirty on the field in EPC and asset management. We have a plethora of experience in academic research and professional research thereafter, and that's what is our backbone. Through our research, we have collected 5 billion plus labeled data points, and we converted these patterns in these data points into algorithms. Yeah, and that's where this physics is our core strength. Okay, coming to the main agenda of this webinar, what happened this year? So this year was one of the most exciting years in our Smart Helio journey of almost 7 years, that we traveled across the globe. We spent a lot of time with our existing and prospective clients. We wanted to understand from them how are they seeing their business evolving, what are the challenges they are facing, and what solution they are seeking, right? Um, Maybe we could go to the next slide. So as you can see, these are pictures of, various events we went to. From the picture, definitely looks like Intersolar Munich was the most fun. But yeah, I mean, it was very fascinating to see from smaller companies to bigger companies, different stakeholders from CXOs all the way to the technicians that we spoke with. We spoke with thousands of our industry friends and colleagues. And we gained a lot of insights into where the industry is moving. Maybe Govinda, if very recently you have come from Japan, maybe just share a global perspective of how things are going.
No, definitely, Shankaransh. Thanks a lot. So it's been a very busy year for us. We have been to across the globe, really thinking like what's next for solar. And recently I came from Japan, and it was very interesting to see that Japanese are going back to nuclear. So they are thinking of starting nuclear plants back. Grid curtailment is happening there also big time. There is a strong push of hydrogen, really, really strong push. They really want to go on hydrogen because the land is not enough for them. It's an island nation, and wherever they could build, they build the solar plants over there. Recently, of course, it got into controversy where Mitsubishi pulled out from a wind power plant project, which was quite hyped before, and it gave a bit of a setback for renewable industry over there. What overall we see that now people are thinking beyond solar, like we had a solar, but now what's happening over there? And similar feeling we had exactly in when we were in US and of course Europe. We are here. We are looking into a lot of different different things. With if you just have solar, that's not enough anymore. Yeah.
No, thanks, Govinda, and that's very true. I think through the course of this webinar, we will also see how industry is trying to diversify. Yeah, and definitely solar is not enough. Like you said, briefly mentioned grid curtailment, right? Um, what has been the take of the industry and how grid curtailment is impacting the industry?
No, absolutely. This was the recent paper, right? It was August 19, 2025. And what makes me worry is this line. Let me just go. A new report warns that only five grid operators in Europe, we have like thousands, are modeling 100% renewable by 2035. That's weird. Like it just looks like that it will be a very long problem for us. Grid curtailment is not going to go away, and we have to live with that. So we have to start using grid curtailment at our see this as an opportunity rather than a setback for solar for sure. At the same time, if you just go to Japan, Japan has not been in the news, but recently you can see the grid curtailment losses has increased quite a bit on that grid curtail. And this line, I love it. Like, let me just read it out very clearly for our audience. Long-term curtailment is likely to increase as renewable capacity grows. So renewable is not stopping. People are deploying it. Government is still deploying renewable, but the nuclear plants are starting, which I mentioned before that they are going back to nuclear. Not all, but there is a movement among people that okay, nuclear is not that bad. Same in Europe is happening. We are in Switzerland, and we are talking about a lot of these nuclear. Some of the nuclear plants might come back to us. At the same time, people are thinking about new business model. Like for example, the trend is prompting feed-in tariff asset owner to consider conversion to feed-in premium scheme that is directly selling to the end user, and of course,
Mhm.
co-location with batteries to recover the return loss to curtailment. So definitely, like looks like the batteries, the best system is coming out to be a savior for the industry here. And that was
Yeah.
globally voiced that we need batteries for sure.
Yeah, and I think a few years back we used to hear about grid curtailment largely in Europe and in the US, but now we see this becoming a global phenomena, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
That's true.
let's talk about energy storage. I mean, I think grid curtailment and energy storage best they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah, you're right. Like, so I was wondering, like, when we were talking to these customers, like, okay, how the life looks like with BESS.
Mhm.
And this chart clearly explained from Solar Power Europe that BESS is increasing, rapidly increasing, and BESS will be installed around 120 gigawatt hour by 2029. So it means that we will have a lot of batteries just in Europe, but actually very similar is across the globe happening. Now, what we need to think about that if BESS is coming, then what complexity is increasing on that,
Mhm.
right? Um, and one of the things bothered me while talking to customers here is this chart. That we have BESS, we'll have storage, but where are the people?
Mhm.
Where are the people? That's it. So there is already a labor gap of 35,000 in O&M just in Europe, actually, by 2027. But what is extremely worrying me is on the left-hand side, the curve. The orange curve says how many battery experts we need. The green curve shows how many we have. It's almost like 100% gap. So I
Oh,
think like it's very clear that we will be able to deploy this technology. Technology are pretty mature. We understand the materials. We understand the battery. Batteries are pretty reliable, but we will have a huge gap of operators in this case. And we also checked some of the universities trying to train some of the solar folks going to battery. So there was a tendency we saw that we started with wind. Wind folks said that, okay, I'm going to operate solar. Then we had a 10-year of learning on solar.
mm,
Now these solar folks are going to batteries, but batteries is a moving chemical factory.
right,
You see,
right.
like we moved from a moving mechanical to a very static photovoltaic with silicon, and now we are moving to a chemical factory, which is basically batteries. So it will be a very interesting thing to see like how industry cope up on these things.
Right. And I mean, see this gap to me also poses a big opportunity, right?
Yes.
Like back in 2011, when I started my master's in the US, there were a handful of universities with a focused training in renewables, right? At least in the US. And now that is, ramping up. But like you said, batteries are literally, static chemical factories. Just talking about US, between 2023 to 2024, best deployment increased by 45%, right? Is the skilled labor force increasing at that rate? Yeah. No,
We
that's,
we
yeah, definitely a big question.
yeah. No, and you're right, Shankaransh. Like I think we are just checking on one of the part is the skill labor, but if there were so many other challenges, what our colleagues from partners, clients, and other folks, energy folks talked about, scale. Right now we are on 4 terawatt of solar. It will go to 11, maybe it go to 12, maybe it go to 8. It's increasing by times, but we don't have that kind of growth in our skill set. We don't have enough number of people to do those things. Again, we are entering into phase of aging assets, which is another very, very big issue, is what to do with aging assets, because now there is a high failure phase, how high cost phase. And that's how what to deal with that stuff. Volatility. Pricing is going up and down here and there. There's a grid constraints happening, curtailments, and also we are in a very weird situation that what to do with these kind of pricings. Yeah. Different business models are evolving. People are talking about VPP. It's a very big thing right now. Data centers have come up big time. People are talking about that we need to secure energy for data centers because data centers are the future. And the beauty about data centers, they are talked in terms of watt power, how much energy they consume, right? So this is one, of course, we have BESS coming up. This all require real-time intelligence. Now more, we cannot be just static. It need to be super dynamic. And one of the biggest thing coming up, which is not yet come, but I could feel under the line of all the big asset owners right now from across the globe, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity. Who is providing your hardware? Is hardware is free or not? Like recently, we had Reuters that one of the hardwares provided from China actually had something which they find it super weird that it can shut off that I think it was a multi-million megawatt of plant, So that was like super weird, like how we will, what we will do on this state. So who is collecting your data? Who owns it? Where the data is getting stored? That's very important here. So I see that this is not a big concern at this stage, maybe, but as soon as we are kind of moving into asset like best entering, more complexity entering, this data story will start playing into picture. We need to be careful. Who is collecting your data, where it is getting stored, who is the owner of those companies who's providing such services to you. And because of all the political movement happening here and there, it could be a big issue. And I think another issue happened that aging protocols and fragmented systems. So we have a lot of aging infrastructure. They were not prepared for such things. So how we quickly ramp up on this. So there are many complexity coming now. We are entering into that phase. Yeah.
Right. And I agree that I think as solar companies are becoming more and more structured as they have more portfolio, the concern around data is actually every big company that we go to who are operating either at utility scale or they are very big rooftop players, everyone is concerned about data, who that data is going to, what is being done with that data, where is that data being utilized outside of their, business scope. Definitely. But let's go to the audience and check that what are the biggest challenges they see right now.
And that's interesting to see like how many people, yeah.
I think we are already 20 minutes into this webinars. We should we should be good. Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe we can watch the results already.
Yep.
No wonder, no wonder curtailment tops the chart. Implementing best is the next big
Yeah.
one. Business model change. Oh wow, we're gonna touch on all of this. You know, one interesting thing that I keep hearing from almost every client about best is it's still like sizing best is one challenge. Selecting a good best technology is one. Installation is definitely a challenge, but the bigger challenge seems like when a problem occurs in these best systems, right? There's this lack of understanding, and most of them say, "Oh, OEMs, they just fixed it. We don't know what exactly the problem was, right? But it just got
Yeah.
fixed." So that was very interesting to see, and I can tell that in coming years, the entire knowledge on BESS is going to explode, you know. All right, great. Let's check what's next. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Govinda. Yes.
No, I was
So
just trying
yeah,
to
let's
go ahead,
on
Shankar. Sorry, I cut you. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, sorry. Let's touch base on business models because it also got a very high share. Um, we used to look at a very linear business model, right? Like if I was a GC and a developer in the US, I was just getting the contracts, getting solar installed, simple PPA. If there's additional electricity being produced, it goes to the grid. Life is simple. I come back home, right? But how's that energy landscape evolving, Govinda? Let's touch base on that.
No, definitely. It's a very important thing to simplify like what's happening to our grid, right, to the energy system. So, like you said, it was very easy, kind of comparatively easier now that we installed solar. We have a PPA with grid or the end user, and things goes. Whatever solar produces, it just goes to the grid, and that's okay. And then of course you have to do some operation maintenance and maintain those plants. It was pretty straightforward linear business model. But as we are moving forward right now, I think business model is getting very complex. Like, okay, we have BESS. So BESS can store it or BESS can release it, right? Discharge it. At the same time, we have to talk about markets. We have to talk about weather phenomena. We have to talk about regulation. Regulation is hit very hard this time. A lot of things are getting stopped in 2025 and is stopping or 26, 27, 28. There's a phase out of subsidies also as you're moving forward. So I think we are moving into a phase of non-linear business model where it's no more a single dot, one A to B. It could be really, really a complex way to reach out, get to the revenue basically. So now this dollar or euro or any currency, it was easy. We knew that I'm going to operate my plant like the way I have been operating for last 10 years, and I'm going to get that money. Now it's not possible. That's it. We have complexity in our system at this stage.
That's correct. And I think another complexity is entire geopolitical situation, which keeps evolving in different parts of the world, right? I think that also severely impacts. Like one of the things that we heard at RE Plus in the US this time is, because of the recent changes and the big beautiful bill, people actually investors want to slow down on new deployments and try to extract maximum juice out of the existing assets that they have, right? Imagine that uh, it changes, right? The geopolitical situation changes, the way of working would change. All of a sudden, again, there will be more push into deployment. So you're correct. It's very long, non-linear, and there are now a lot of moving parts, right? Like this slide beautifully summarizes. Yeah, it used to be a simple line. Now it's not a line anymore. It has become a mesh of lines. Yeah.
No, exactly. And we see this while talking to our customers that they have a lot of pressure right now from the investor side, from their own people, how to train them for the new things on the new business models, what to do with all the investments we have done. It's just no more the same. The world is transitioning much faster than what we have anticipated before. And I think this slide is very simplifying or really putting it correctly, like what's happening in energy industry at this stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would like to just say on that, it's a very beautiful line by Paul, which is CTO Accenture, what it talks about. The playing field is poised to become a lot more competitive. And businesses that don't deploy AI and data to help them innovate in everything, they will be at disadvantage, you know. And it's a very powerful line, which kind of talks exactly what we as energy industry going through right now. No.
Absolutely correct, Govinda. I mean, from our recent trip to Africa when we were talking with our clients, it was very visible that the approach of the companies who were using data, you know, was they were able to make their lives easier, right? Like currently, there's a lot of load curtailment happens. There's a lot of systems behind the meter, especially in Nigeria. But companies who had data, who were utilizing data to their own benefit, were able to size the best systems better. They were able to predict the usage. They were able to better calculate the charging and discharging, of these battery assets. And they have a lot of data. They looked into past 2, 3 years. They understood the trend of load curtailment, and they were able to use it to their benefit, right? Whereas others who didn't do a great job with data, yeah, just data collection, storing, and standardizing the data to use for their benefit. It's very clear, and I cannot agree more with Paul.
Yeah. Just to add on that, like it's just not in Africa. I've seen in Spain, for example, I was talking to one of a very large customer here, and choices were very different. We were talking over lunch that if there are two solar companies, both are having grid curtailment. Okay,
Mm.
they have a choice. Let's do BESS. So they got money for BESS because no one wants to get out of the investment. Now, one company uses data and try to size perfectly, not oversize, not undersize the best system. So they save some money in the capex side. The other company, they went ahead and did some deployment. Now, the other company used data to predict very well, so where to discharge energy in the market, which market to look for. They have much more predictability. They are really working ahead on data side. The other company was not able to do a better job. At the end, what happened? Company A, who is using data to size it and dispatch energy perfectly, is of course will be much more profitable to start with than the other company. So I think it's very clear now, like we cannot go more in that why data is important, and all the companies should really start focusing on their data and start analyzing very, very deeply those data points.
Right. Okay, so we have talked about a lot of things here, Govinda, right? Grid curtailment,
Yeah.
BESS, how, lack of labor. After understanding all of this, what does the industry want to do, or what industry should do?
Yeah. Thanks, Shankaransh. I think the industry is really thinking a lot about this, like what is next for next 10 years. So that whatever done, like now we are talking about 2035, next 10 years, what should we do? A lot of people are thinking to sell their assets a lot, like more than what we could imagine. That people are thinking, okay, how do I get out of it? Because it's just world life looking very complex at this stage. I think those who are thinking to exit, that's fine. That's not a problem. Like you should sell their assets. But what we are also experiencing when we are talking to buyers, that they are really valuing those companies who have much more clean and structured data. Because that's give them a edge that fast they can understand that they are able to get insight into the system, whether it's a BESS or solar. They're able to project that how the future will look like. If I buy this asset, how my future will look like. And that future only looks if you have a good data, ultimately. So those companies who are thinking about, oh, I want to sell, I want to exit the market, data. keep your data very well. Organize all the historical generation and PR alarms, tickets, and all as much as possible. Of course, there are some old assets we can't have it, but just try it. Make sure that assets are working well. So they are in a good condition, like you can do diagnostics on different purposes, do drones, do your own analysis, but do it, like get them up and running. Uh, Demonstrate a predictable performance. And what investors are looking for, initially investors are buying megawatt. To be honest, like it was a trend to buy megawatt. How much gigawatt portfolio I have. Now the trend is very clear. It's all about megawatt hours, kilowatt hours, gigawatt hours. They want energy because that's translated to real revenues at this stage. So clean data equal to higher exit multiples. I have seen that a company just able to prove that they have better data and all those things, they were able to get at least 1.5 times than what their peers were getting. So this is important, one thing. Now, there are companies, they want to keep their assets. They want to keep it because they really see it. And they were looking to upgrade it. With BESS, with photovoltaic, new technologies have come. They are much cheaper, much more efficient. We see when we go to Intersolar RE Plus that now you are able to squeeze in much more kilowatts in small section of silicon than before, right? They are more efficient also with all these new technologies have come up. And of course, we have BESS. So now when we talk about that, okay, I want to keep my assets, please upgrade it. And they are thinking about it. Upgrading means what? Like, do I just upgrade overall, complete my plant, or should I be smarter on upgrading? So identify underperformance and go step by step on that. Do right simulation for BESS. Really spend some time on that. Avoid over and undersizing. There is a tendency right now that, okay, I'm going to deploy BESS and I'm going to, get money for next 10, 20 years. What I felt it that people understand that BESS is for 5 years and the grid will get stabilized. So there was a very clear case in Japan I saw when I was talking to one of the very large utility, and then they said that, look, BESS is a short form right now, but as soon as we have nuclear coming into our grid, we will be able to get those, deficits of energy back. So if you are designing your BESS which can have a break even within 5 years, I think that's the best case scenario right now. I don't think so. Like, I have not seen yet that best should be for next 15, 20 years on this one. People are really thinking about how do I get my break even very fast on that. Also, another one that when you are replacing component, because we are in the aging phase, important is the actual health, not just age. And this is where I say that even if old panels are there, old inverter, that doesn't mean they're badly underperforming because replacement will cost you not only just the equipment, but whole massive downtime for the system. So it's all about actual health. So please do that. So I feel like turning an aging plant into high performing assets, I think this is the goal to go, that where you can upgrade it, and upgrade need to have a well thought process here. And it might get a little complex. Yeah.
Right. And I think on the data part, a couple of thoughts come to my mind. Like there's a lot of push from investors as well to have a
Mhm.
very structured data.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because if they want to acquire, they want to make quicker decisions and they want to have that transparency and trust. I was speaking with some investors in the UK and they have burned their hands before. They
Mm.
currently have assets, they were sold a dream, and then things didn't turn out, the performance of those assets as it was. And now since they own the asset, I mean, they had to put in a little bit more capex to, get it to where they wanted it to be. So with that experience, I think in past 5 years, you name any country, there has been a sizable amount of M&A that has happened. So that's a really good thing. The other side of data is that we were speaking with a company and they said that, look, my technicians keep changing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
was it was difficult for them to kind of like maintain a history of the O&M that has happened on a plant. So industry is realizing, and I'm so happy that you go in some companies and they have really put a couple of years worth of effort and a dedicated team just to structure their data really well, you know. There's a lot more to do, but I'm happy that the industry is going towards that.
No, I agree. Agree. Like everyone we talk to, at least they understand the importance. They're not able to do it. That's different, but they understand the importance right now. Another thing I saw a tendency right now across the globe, that new business models. The last line is very important, that one plant, many off takers, many revenue streams. It has it has been the key right now, that okay, if I have a plant, like how do I diversify? I don't want to rely on one system. And then a lot of clients are actually doing already, or at least thinking about it, how to diversify. For example, data centers are coming big time. They are the future. They will consume a lot. They want to have more reliable power. It's an excellent. And then more and more people are getting conscious that data center consume a lot of energy. So I don't want to use, like, all this AI should run on clean energy. So this is a tendency coming from people itself. Directly selling to the customers, like having a direct PPAs, that's important, and multiple off takers like energy communities, community solar, EV charging hubs, peer to peer, depending on the big or large assets. But I'm seeing that a lot of tendency on diversifying business models coming up. But one thing was very important, that whether we like it or not, whether we do the above part, whether I'm trying to thinking about selling my assets or whether I'm thinking about upgrading my assets, ultimately someone will take over those assets. It need to have a new business model. You need to show that how you are able to still get those money and generate revenues for your investors. So new business model is the must. If someone is not thinking about it, they should start thinking about it definitely on this.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, this year, whoever we spoke with, we did not find a single company who was either not very soon going to work on or has either started a new business model. Uh, that comes with a lot of challenges as well. Some of them said that, look, now we are also trying to install EV. We are trying to do EV with solar. You go to data centers, you have to do BESS. Community solar, if someone wants to do in the US, the sales is very different, very complex. So with this complexity of new business models, they have to have people of different skill sets within the industry. They have to keep up with evolving technology, right? If I am a solar developer and if I want to branch off doing installing EV, I need to understand EV. I need to understand who does it best, what are the features, all of that. Interestingly, and since myself coming from a EPC and asset management background, one stark thing that I see, that technology has evolved so rapidly across every renewable energy domain. But when you dig in and see how these assets are being operated, innovation hasn't touched the operations part a lot. I'm not saying that nothing has happened. Yeah. Back then, I used to just look at, a monitoring platform or inverters monitoring. Now, the entire monitoring space has evolved so much, but it's not enough. If you zoom out and look at the steps people are taking, it's still the same. And and that was, when we were trying to speak with throughout the globe, we realized that since diversification is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
So they are forced to learn about new technology, new business models, and they want to keep evolving to remain relevant and increase their profitability. But they are not devoid of the problems that the operations of these business models bring in. And I think this is where, Govinda, that's the knowledge, that's the feedback from our global clientele that we brought in, and we are trying to make their life a little easier. Yeah. So I think very quickly, just let's look at how we are trying to help the industry on the operational part.
No, Shankaransh, this is a great input, that we were also, as Smart Helio, we are very concerned about the existing assets. That's important for us. We believe that our mission is to how to accelerate adoption of clean energy, and then if you don't take care of our operating assets, then people not going to give you money to deploy more assets. So this has been at least our philosophy, and this is where Autopilot has been in market. We are serving a lot of clients. You mentioned already a couple of them. And we built a very simple tool, but very powerful engine, which is physics-informed AI. A lot of algorithms are there. Aim is to detect and predict faults. Input was simple. We take inputs from SCADA or anything, current voltage, temperature, weather. We run some algorithms, and some features are very standard features, like you can do cell phone booting yourself on the plant very quickly. It can detect and predict faults in your thing. You can do reporting very quickly, ticketing. So I think we actually move the needle a bit more for our clients from very standard monitoring to, okay, now I have smart intelligence. And we feel for the last 1 year, that's not enough. That's really not enough. What clients need is much more actionable. And like we said, that we don't have enough people. What client was looking into, like, oh my God, I'm scaling my assets. I just don't have enough people to do it. So how do I do that? And I think this is where we have been working hard. And I really want to congrats our data team that to building Gaia, which is still, I believe, that is an ambition we have, that build and partner for our client, who can think with them, who can understand their pain points and help them answer questions or even operate for them at scale. So it's a simple tool. It is powered by our autopilot engine. So of course, a lot of intelligence, physics based, comes from our engine, which is a very technical engine. But Gaia is capable to have data from financial data, for example, customers' own business logic, vendor contracts, weather data, etc. It can take much more data to give insights, but not just give, but also take action. So what is important here, that, okay, you have taken certain knowledge, but now what to do now? So this is what Gaia is getting built, and also important for us for cybersecurity, that data remains in your system. That is important. And we have talked to so many customers. This is what we were talking about, that whatever their concerns were, how they want, what they want. And right now, Gaia, I would love to give a very quick demo on this, that Gaia is helping our operators, basically. So if you have this, the Gaia platform, you see that there's so much of data. There's an overload of data right now our clients have. You have a utility scale, you have C&I, you have BESS. You go on that. Now you have to do analytics a lot on this. Okay, go to analytics. You have performance, you have financial performance, environmental things. So you see there's a lot of data, which is already good, that at least you have data to run on this, right? But this is where Gaia comes in. Gaia will just sit on top of these data and help you answer. A simple thing. Every day we look for, analyze current faults in my portfolio. And there are people sitting in NOC system looking at the screens every day. What Gaia does, in within minutes, it just gives you all data already, like what kind of faults you have, what is the impact, prioritization. It can create tickets already. So it already knows that if some fault happened, which guy need to be get associated with, and follow-ups on this. And then immediately generate a report. A simple 3-step process. Check, assign, and report. And this we do every day. Our colleagues in these companies doing every day, and at scale, it is impossible. At the same time, you can put Gaia on auto mode, where Gaia can take over certain assets and start analyzing everything. So it's a very simple demonstration and power of AI here, that what AI can help you in your workflow management, but also take action for you based on your business logic here. Yeah. So this is
Right.
Gaia for us, and I'm very, very excited about it, that it is really quite useful in operating on for operational assets, and helping especially O&M people, asset managers, or NOC people to have much better efficiency, and removing this daily boring life of monitoring the assets.
That's absolutely true, Govinda. I mean, we have been working on this with our clients for past 3 years. We have been trying to understand and draw a commonality between their problems. And one thing that we see, everyone hands down would say, I need to identify where I'm losing my money, and I want to prioritize and stop, that bleeding of money. But to be able to do that, and for any business, I mean, it totally makes sense. That's what you would want to do, right? But to do that, there are layers of manual intervention. along with, some sophisticated technologies as well. And I think that is the use case that we started Gaia with, you know, that stop help our clients stop bleeding money, and do that in an as automated fashion as possible. Yeah. So I'm very excited. I feel like back in 2013 when I started, if I had Gaia, because at one point in time in 2017 I was managing more than 500 assets, and I know how my life was, right? I wish I had Gaia back then. Life would have been much easier. I would have enjoyed my youth a little bit more. All right, quiz
You did.
time.
I think you anyway you
I
did. So
think
yeah. Let's do quizzing time
I
now.
I did, I did my fair share of fun. Okay, so let's do guess the pattern. And like I said at the beginning of this webinar, that we did ask the same questions to ChatGPT, and we'll share what ChatGPT said. All right, so a lot of you already do this on LinkedIn with us, play this game. But for few of you who are new here, what we are seeing here is the top plot is the DC current at different levels at inverters, MPPT, and stuff. In this case, we are looking at DC current of all the inverters at a site. The dotted line in the top plot, that's the irradiance sensor data. The bottom one is the DC voltage coming from these inverters. Yeah, so there are 5 inverters at the site, and we have plotted all the 5 of them um, together for one day, which is 17th of August. Yeah, so just looking at the pattern of current and voltage, let's guess what the issue could be, right? Um, yeah, and since we want to give time to Q&A as well, we probably might be speeding up this guess the pattern a little bit. Okay, so just focus on what's happening with the current, and when
You're
thing happens with the current, what happens with voltage? Yeah,
okay.
great.
Okay.
Let's have a poll.
Okay. So I'm
Power
gonna go.
clipping.
Power clipping is winning here, but let's see. Okay. It was
It
a good.
was it was
Okay.
it
Let's
was
see
grid
what,
curtailment.
yeah, let's see what ChatGPT says. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Stop. So ChatGPT says passing cloud and short irradiance drop event. Okay. Well, and it has all valid reasons. All the reasons it points out. Okay. Okay.
exactly.
So it looks like ChatGPT lost. And yeah, there were a few people also answering grid curtailment, so it was good. Yeah.
That's correct.
Let's go. Okay.
This is a complex one,
This is the complex. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
a little bit complex. Yeah. So again, what we are looking at here is the orange color is the current of the bad or the faulty inverter, and the green one is a similar size but a good performing inverter from the same site. And then the red color is the DC voltage of the bad inverter, uh, and the violet one is of the good inverter. Let's have the results, Govinda.
Perfect.
Mm,
It's actually MPPT issue. Okay. So we all the valid
that's
reason, but MPPT issue. Let's see what ChatGPT said. Most of the folks here saying shading. There were few said MPPT and disconnected string. Some also said bird poo. So okay.
okay.
ChatGPT was right.
GPT guessed it right.
Yeah. Exactly. So it did say that that was MPPT oscillation and unstable. That's not bad, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go the other one. Ooh.
Yeah, so these are again the what we are looking at here is at MPPT level, DC current and voltage of exactly identical MPPTs from two different inverters.
And orange is the bad one, and the green is the good working. So we can have a self comparison. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
correct. I
that's right.
I believe this one it's easy. Let's have our poll.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
think
right.
50%. That's
It is
absolutely correct.
disconnected string. So that's good. Let's see what ChatGPT says.
Yeah, it
ChatGPT
says
says it's a shading.
shading. Well, honestly, it
We
could
all
be
beat
it's shading.
ChatGPT here. We all, yeah. Damn you, ChatGPT. All your intelligence.
But the interesting thing is if you see, not that ChatGPT gave us the wrong answer, but it was one out of three where it was spot on, right? The other ones, it didn't have the right context, correct?
Mm. No, that's right. And I feel like this is what we also need to be very conscious on that our energy business context is very different than what ChatGPT or these large language models have been trained. So we need to be very conscious on applying them, really very conscious. And we have seen many of our customers, okay, at the large scale C level and high level, of course, they're very conscious. But when we have people working underneath, they are just using ChatGPT left and right because it does give answers very, very convincing. But that's not right. Here,
Mhm.
it's a disconnected string. It gives us shading. Okay. I have no idea why, but of course, it has some reasons on that, right? So again, what we need to understand that when you're deploying these things, whether you're deploying it yourself or whether you're deploying with some third party, your business use case should be clear. What these guys need to, what these large language model need to be trained on. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Q&A, let me just check. I'm gonna stop the screen here a bit. We are left with 5 minutes, so maybe we can take one question here. Okay, we have, let's see. Yeah, here it goes. Okay. Okay, someone said that I like sense of humor, guys. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, there's one, I want to take just one very quickly here.
Mhm.
Is Gaia is a wrapper around ChatGPT or any chatbot? So just to let you know that it's a wrapper on some of the LLMs we have, which is closely trained by us, but also on autopilot and a lot of other data points. So it is not just powered by one single LLM here. It is on the closed cloud. So kind of like a lot of our data is there. I want to talk about this one question. For AI-driven platforms to become mainstream in solar and BESS O&M, what level of transparency, explainability, and auditability will lenders and investors expect? Basically, with AI and all, how these things become bankable.
Right. And I think if I could take it, Govinda,
Go ahead.
the two things that they look for. First, data security.
Yep.
I am trusting you with my data, but can I really trust you? Number one. Second is when AI comes in, right? There's a big question on the trust that what AI is saying, how can I even, or should I even trust? Can I even trust? So I think for it to become really mainstream, as long as the investors feel that the data is secured and whatever decision making that this AI is doing for me is really in my favor and it's correct. These two things will help solve.
Okay. Now I want to check. Yeah, another one. What is the usage of Gaia in operation? Let me mention this. So for last 1 year, just answer, yeah. So what is the usage of Gaia? So Gaia is like what we are building is really a smart layer, a partner on the data set of our clients. One of the use cases in operations. So what we have observed that as our clients are growing bigger and bigger, the issues and challenges in the assets are much more complex. So for example, aging assets. So there are much more failures happening than before. You're introducing BESS into that. So there's another complexity happening on this. So this daily task of monitoring and dispatching tickets and follow up with the technicians and all, this is looks like something which we are very confident to this workflow to manage it very well. And this is what it's trying to do. So it's kind of mimicking a person in a knock center where it's scanning all the system, that is scanning all the faults that are coming through autopilot, and also we have developed a lot of alarms and alerts. Then it scans, it prioritizes those things, and then it try to check that which one should be assigned to. Okay. So in this way, and then when it checks, it also checks whether the fixed fault was good or not good. And that is important. Sometimes what happened that on ground, someone said that I have fixed the faults, but in reality, it has not happened. And this is where I think the challenge comes into picture also. So let's say that it's your automated knock system. When you are scaling up, we don't have enough people, so you don't have to scale with people, but you keep scaling portfolio with Gaia. Perfect. I think we are now 2 minutes left now. Shankran, we'll stop here. We are getting a lot of question answers here, but sorry guys, we just don't have enough time left now, but we'll get back to you on this. I want to just share again the last bit of our webinar. So here. So thanks for everything. Thanks for attending this webinar, but please scan this code and give a feedback like how we could have done better this webinar. And once you scan it, like you'll receive a couple of accesses to our systems. So you can have enough reading materials and you can understand better what we are trying to build. And maybe you can associate your challenges with our solution. Yeah. Shankran's last words from you.
Rao, I was still reading the questions. I mean, there's so many questions about Gaia. No, I think uh, very interesting. I really hope that we were able to summarize and bring forth that global perspective to our audience. And one thing is for sure that we need to innovate how we are operating within the companies. Um, and I think sooner or later that push will be very, very strong.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, thank you all for joining. You will receive after post webinar the recording webinar slide and question answer list. So enjoy your rest of the day. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Govinda.
Bye.
Take care.